what I'm doing. This is from the Constitution of Sigma Pi Phi as revised August 84. Article 1, name, symbol, seals, colors. The name of the organization shall be Sigma Pi Phi. The symbols shall be corresponding letters of the Greek alphabet, Sigma Pi Phi. Now there are people who will break this down 50 ways and take you 50 more ways. And I could spend some time telling you some of the things they taught me, but we'll have to save that for another trip. Says here, oh, let me go back. At the end of that line was the seal of the fraternity. Uh-oh, got to bring it down a little bit. Excuse me a second. The seal of the fraternity shall consist of the Grecian Sphinx, an urn, and the Greek letter Sigma Pi Phi encircled by a hand bearing the word Sigma Pi Phi, Fraternity Incorporated, encircled by a hand. Now, you remember we talk about the hidden hand, the hand. Those articles where they're always telling you something negative about what they're doing, and they always show you the hidden hand doing it. Now you see that picture of hands? Now you say, well, what are them hands just doing out there? Well, the story is called Colonialism is Back. And not a moment too soon. And it openly advocates taking over Africa. Openly. New York Times, August 18th, 1993. Brother, I'm going to get all this stuff for you too. You'll want this. I mean, they openly advocate it, but this is who they show is doing it.
So again, the date on that, 1982?
August 18th, 1993, Sunday New York Times Magazine. I'm sorry. April 18th, 1993. I appreciate that. Check on the correction. But you see little black hands at the bottom and big white hand at the top. And H-A-N-D means something.
Different color hand.
Show. And the hand says, let's face it, some countries are just not fit to govern themselves. We're witnessing today a revival of colonialism in a new form. It's a trend that should be encouraged. It goes right on to say we're going to take the fuck out of Africa, and it lists the 10 countries they taken first. This is New York Times, Sunday Magazine. This is the lead paper in the damn country. This is the American paper of the world. This is April 18th, 1993.
What's 10?
Huh?
What's 10? You said 10 countries.
Oh, get the tape, Africa 1993. Because I'm going to stop. It's loaded with stuff. But the point of it is I wanted to show you them damn hands. So when he says over here, when he says the Greek letter Sigma Pi Phi encircled by a hand bearing the word Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, that ain't no arbitrary dialogue. Only further verification of what hand they talking about. And so they call it, what we're looking for here is, says the colors of the fraternity shall be blue and white. It says the official insignia of the fraternity shall be a pin bearing the figure of a Grecian Sphinx and urn, with the Greek letter Sigma Pi Phi inscribed beneath, of which may be appropriately adorned with jewels. The title of the pin is vested in the Grand Boule. The pin shall be worn by the archons only on the left side of the vest or shirt. In case of loss of pin, Section 3, upon the death of an archon, the pin shall be left in the custody of his widow to be buried or cremated with him. Otherwise, it shall be returned to his subordinate Boule. That's deep. I thought it was interesting that when Warren Christopher went to the Middle East, Brother Ashwa, first place he went was to the Sphinx. And I need you to teach us something about this, about why he may have went there. And in the story, it says his code name is Sphinx. This is the vice chairman of the Council on Foreign Relations. He's a part of that secret society that Cecil Rhodes set up. He's the vice chairman of it. That's why he chaired the Commission on Your Rebellion, because he's in charge of all Negroes. He's now Secretary of State, in charge of Negroes worldwide. Secretary of State Christopher walks from the Sphinx, which he called, quote, a reminder of the tremendous contribution Egypt has made to modern civilization. Now, them ain't the right guys, buddy. Boy, them are not the guys. But he went there. Early on his first day of his just concluded Middle East trip, before the official talks with Egyptian leaders were to begin, Christopher made a walking tour of the nation's most famous landmark, the pyramids and the Sphinx, and about why he's there and what's there. So now we know that the logo is called a Grecian Sphinx. We also know that we found Brother Maurice. When we first found about the Grecian Sphinx, we actually were looking at the logo, and we felt that the logo was a griffin, because a griffin seemed to be similar to the concept of the Grecian Sphinx, and I thought that that was a griffin that was there, and Brother Maurice looked up what the griffin meant in the Webster's Dictionary. And you can see that it says something about the griffin. Right. Not only it talks about the fabulous bird with the wings and four legs and the ears and all of that, but in the second definition of a griffin, origin unknown, it says a white person new to the East. What? Yeah. One recently come from the Occident.
That means white. White land.
That's deep. And then a griffin, griffinage, the state of being a white person recently come from the East.
Damn.
And then it says Griffinite, Griffin Park, Los Angeles. So the griffin stands over you from the highest point, looking over all that you are. They call it Griffin Park, and its conclave is the Greek Theater. Somewhere up there, there's some shit we gotta go find. Somewhere up there is an unlocking of the mystery that keeps this the city of the Los Angeles. This is where the angels lost.
Hollywood.
They didn't win here, yeah, Hollywood. I thought that was deep. That was deep. Here is, that's a small picture of the Grecian Sphinx. We'll look at some more later. That's from the cover of the bylaws and Constitution. And you can see that under the slab, there's some writing here, in between there. We've got to talk about that and find out something about that. In the book called the Dictionary of Symbols, I found they had a listing for a Grecian Sphinx. And what you know about Greece is it has to have breasts like a woman, face up. They said we serve one maiden only. We serve one maiden only.
All of them?
And that's another picture of a Grecian Sphinx in a book on the Dictionary of Symbols. Now, and this is important. I was looking up, I have a definition here that if I can find, I want to show you, that has some significance. I'm going to ask, if he would, to have Brother Ashwa Kwesi come up and join me, if I could be so honored. And Brother had just come in town today from out of town, and Brother Jamal and I and Brother talked on the telephone, and he looked at some of the symbolism that was encased in the Grecian Sphinx. Here is a larger version. I'm going to get an even larger version, but there's certain things there that you should take a look at just before I step back a second. Remember, there's Sigma Pi Phi. Look at the tail in the form of an S. Sigma. The wings are in flight. There's the urn. The urn has significance. Now in another picture I'll show that in the urn is the 360 degrees of knowledge. There's a little wheel in there that goes, there's a little circular wheel. I'm going to show you that off of another picture. Again, we just go through another link in. There's that concept of that round table again. You got to pull back on symbols. When I looked in the Dictionary of Symbols, it said under the word pi, it says pi comes from the Chinese word that means round table. Sigma Pi Phi. Anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. Brother, I've